this body may not be exactly, you know, you might want to do yours thinner, thicker, leave your waistline, which is that inverted triangle. You can go in tighter if you want, depending on the shape of the angel that you would like to create. So I'm just throwing that on there just to give somewhat of a shape before I get started on wings. And then at the top, I might bring this up to create like straps of a dress. But this is more of an abstract angel, so don't get too hung up on the little details. I'm going to come back over here. I still have I still have some of my teal. I'm going to just mix in a little bit of that and pick up some more white. And the longest part of my wing is here. I like to get back on the side of that palette knife and just sort of play a little bit, making lines. And then I will come down on the tip, pull back flat, and then pull into the angel's body, pushing down on that tip again and then lifting up. When you look closely, I'm hoping that you can see this. I'll bring it up as close as I can. Oh, it's too far. Where that edge of the knife leaves off, I have a nice little line there from the palette knife. And that will show texture when you're finished. See if I can come in a little bit closer for you guys of where I do this wing. But I want you to be able to see the palette as well. Then I'll just come over again. I'll just lightly come in and pick up some more paint. It's white and the blue mixed together. I will come over here again and find the next point of my next feather. Put it down on the point. I lower my palette knife. You'll see where it starts to squeeze out. I pull towards the body of the angel again. Then coming back up to the tip as I come in closer to the angel, and I lift up. So I'm just going to keep, and I kind of overlap as I go. I'm going to find the point of where I want that next feather to be. And I'm coming back in the same as I've done the last three. I'll do another one here. I'm laying down on the side and then I'm rocking up to the tip, laying it back down. You'll see your medium start to squeeze out, and then I pull back in towards the body. You just repeat that step all the way down, coming in with your wings if you want to do this type of wing. I'm actually switching to my other hand. This is not my dominant hand. But like I said, you have to leave that perfectionism at the door anyway for this type of wing. I'm coming down and I'm using that one side of the palette again. And then I'm going to lay it towards where the tip is touching. I'm going to lay it down and bring it back in towards the body of the angel. And I am going to repeat that, pressing it down, pulling back, lifting up with the handle now, back to the angel's body. You are going to keep repeating that step all the way down the wing of this angel. Come in and play with it. If you like a more pointed edge on your wing, Come back in and just play. There's no right or wrong. So this, I know, looks kind of messy. That's why I said, depending on how you want to do your angel, there are so many different ways. I'm going to let that upper portion dry just a bit. And I'm going to come in. I'm going to only use maybe the top half of my palette. I may use it this way. But for now, I come in and meet where my wings are. And I just very lightly, as if I were icing a cake, lay it flat and pull back towards myself. You can come in here and I'm just applying very light pressure. Where the canvas is textured, it will pick up the paint, and in some areas it will not. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You have to play depending on how much paint and medium you use will depend how much of that skipping and dragging that you will see. Don't be afraid to just turn your palette different ways, your palette knife different ways, and just drag down. Then you can come back in with maybe your more pure white. This part here, guys, I'm using very little pressure. I'm not pushing down like I did on the wings at the top. And I'm just pulling it very lightly. Come back with some more of the more pure white, very gently, as if you were icing a cupcake and barely touching the cupcake. You're just going to pull down a bit. If you can see my palette over here, I'm going to run the side of my palette knife just through the tiniest bit of the yellow. Then I'm going to run that through just a little bit of the white. I just want to lighten up the yellow. Just a bit that I've just picked up. And this is where I come in and I play. I'm going to do the same thing, but maybe I want a feather here. I'm going to put it there, press down, and pull back towards the angel's body. And I will do that not at the same place where I made the original feather wing. And then I will just push and pull back. Now I've got a lot. This is where I've got a lot of the medium on my knife. Where I lay that edge is going to create the outline of another feather. And as you pull it through, you're creating the edges or the illusion of other feathers. So I hope you can see that. Turn her this way. You will probably never get both sides to look perfectly the same. They never do for me. I'm using a lot of the medium. I'm still using that same exact palette that I started with. I'm going to put a feather here. I start up here, pull in another feather. As you can see, I'm starting on the edge at the tip. I'm rocking it almost to flat. I'll see some of my medium ooze out from under the knife. I want to put a point of 1 here, and then I pull back. So it's edge down, rock up to the tip. This part's coming up, the tip is pushing down, and then pulling over towards the body. If you want the defined shape of the feathers. That is how you're creating them. So I hope you can see that. This has tons and tons and tons of texture. Tons of texture. I love it. Here's where I do allow to get a little bit messy. I come out onto my where I play. I'm flipping, I'm letting some orange get in there, or the yellow get in there, dragging it through, just allowing that to do what it wants to do. You can scrape it, you can leave it heavy, just have fun with this. Let's see if I need to pull out a bit. No, I think we're okay. I'm going to just go ahead and switch off to a brush. So I'm going to put this right in water so that I can come back and clean it when I'm finished. Alright, so I'm just going to switch over now to a thin round brush. I've just dipped in to that flesh colored paint. I'm envisioning this angel just maybe looking off to the side. I want to do a small oval. As you can see here, I'm not being overly concerned about it being perfect. I'm going to pull down to create the illusion of a neck where her shoulders will be. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this through and block out where I want her body to be. Alright guys, so now I'm going to flip this around so you can see my colors. I'm going to load up real good on that Bahama Blue. And I'm just going to come here at this edge to this edge. And I'm just going to create the illusion of the neckline that I want for my angel. And the color, the white, is already laid in there from us just doing the wing. And I'm just going to pull down. This angel, I think, is going to just be very abstract. I picked up some white on that dirty brush, and I'm just pulling down until I almost run out of paint towards the end of my canvas and lifting up. I can come back in and pick up more pure color. I'm just letting that mix together and do what it wants to do on the canvas. At the bottom, you can bring your dress out, depending on what shape you want your angel to have. I'm just going to let this kind of play together and mix in. This is just all part of that abstractness. I'm going to try just a little bit of brown mixed in with this teal. And I'm going to put some here where her waistline is. I'm just dabbing it ever so gently. And then I'm just going to bring it down through her dress. Come back in with some white here at her dress. So this is just an abstract angel. So you can let loose and have a little bit of fun. I'm going to clean my brush. And dry it. I'm going to add just a little bit more color, that nude color, to her face. A tiny little bit of the brown. And I'm going to just hit around the edges to give her face some dimension, her neck. Just going to blend that together on the canvas. Maybe I'll hit the very top of her head with some white and the littlest bit of yellow to give her her glow on her chin, maybe down a little bit to her chest. Okay. Now, depending on how you want your angel to be standing or to do her arms, for this angel, I think I'm going to just, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but let's, over here on the palette, when you do the angel's arms, you're going to get that flesh color. You could still have some yellow in your brush like I have. When I do the arms, it's just a very thin pressing down of that thin brush, and then I lift up. This may be her elbow, so now I'm going to come in again and do another possibly thinner part to her arm. And to finish off, I'll push down and leave almost like a little oval that I bring out to a point to make it look like her fingers or her hands. So I think what I'll do is have her arms coming straight down on this side. So I'm going to pick up a good bit of that flesh color. Remember, these wings are all wet. Everything here is still wet. I'm going to come here where I look for her shoulder with the dress. I'm going to lay the round brush and just pull it downward. It's going to mix in with the white of the wing, so you just may need extra. The abstract angels, you don't need to get overly worried. So I'm going to have her elbow here. So now I will try to go just a little bit thinner with the rest of her arm. Yes, it is picking up color from the dress, but it's fine. I'm going to come in and play with this just a bit. This is a lot of play, guys. Her other arm, I'm just going to pull down and end about the same height or the same length down. And just allow that to hit her dress. For the hands, I'm just touching the brush gently and pulling it down to a point on both sides. Pulling it down to a point. Depending on how you want to do your arms, to create a movement or feeling, I'm going to add a little bit more white just to brighten up her face. Maybe just a few hints through the dress. When I have very little paint left on my brush, I do like to come over here and just play a bit. It's almost like dry brushing the side of the brush to hit those spots of the canvas that are textured. Sometimes I will just fiddle and bring little bits of the wings out further into the canvas. This is just one way of doing wings. One of many. And next month in group, we will play around with another way as well. I'm just reaching and grabbing for a tiny little bit of some purple paint. I'm not cleaning my brush, just grabbing a tiny bit of that purple, mixing it in with the white over here. It does have the medium on it, and in certain spots of her dress, I'm going to drag that purple through. I am just touching it and lifting up and down. I'm letting the paint blend however it wants once it hits that canvas. It can come in with a little bit brown again, just to define certain areas, to shade or highlight certain areas. I like that addition of the brown. So that part of, she's pretty much almost done. I'm going to switch over to the small, just because that's what I have on hand. I'm grabbing some extra gel medium and just adding it here to what I have left of my white. I'm okay with the fact that I'm picking up hints of purple in that. Or blue. I have quite a bit on there, and just as we did before I put in the dress, I'm going to come in here and just give that illusion of the wings drooping down. And just as we did up top, sometimes I like to come in from the top, go in on the side, place my palette and pull upwards. Just a few. To just give that illusion that these are wings and that there is depth there. Use your palette knife to create the depth that these are wings. I like these little bits of extra color. I'm really liking this for some reason, guys. It's just such a stress reliever. Play. Have fun. Don't stress. If you like a more defined angel, I'm picking up that little bit of brown on the side of the brush, and I'm just going to run that down both sides of her dress, under the one arm. Get a little bit more brown. You have to play. Just going to add Maybe a little bit of brown here where her body is standing out from the wings. Don't be afraid to play. Add some of that brown to her fingers, some more to her face. Don't be afraid to do the whole thing with the palette knife. Just laying in the color. Lay in that color where you want it. Don't be afraid to play. I kind of took out the depth of the wings, so I'm just going to come back in here and add that back in using the tip of the brush. Bring them up to meet your wings. Like this addition of the blue. And just layering color. Then here towards the end, if you want, you can come in with the tip of your palette knife and just create the illusion of a halo. I used the yellow and I'm not real thrilled with that, so I'm just going to lighten it up a touch with the white. Use your palette to pull paint off if need be. Okay, so guys, that is one way of painting an abstract angel with her wings using a gel medium to create texture. And once this dries, I may then go back in. I hope that you're able to see all that yummy texture there. You can see it. Every wing has texture. Once that dries, I may go back in with a little bit of white paint on a paintbrush and touch up certain areas that I'm still able to see through, but I may not. And if I do that, I will come back into group to share that with you. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you today. I'd love to see what you come up with while you're playing around. I would love for you to post pictures here, and in the month of January we will also play around with this again and create a totally different type of angel. So I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.